This is my cell phone. Mr. Kilroy, it scans my fingerprint each time I go to unlock it. Is this a weapon?
No, ma'am.
Can this fire bullets that shred people's vital organs, this phone?
No, Congresswoman, it can't.
Then why should this device require more steps to operate than your company's firearms, which have been used in accidental shootings, mass shootings, and homicides? A magazine disconnect prevents a gun from firing if the magazine is not attached. My kids' Nerf guns have this safety feature. One study found that nearly 40% of accidental gun deaths could be prevented with technology that prevents non-authorized users from firing guns. And these ideas are not new. This study was published nearly 20 years ago. Yet technology like fingerprint scanners or bracelets with radio frequency identifiers are nowhere near the standard for firearms. Mr. Kilroy, how many of your firearms come equipped with fingerprint scanning mechanisms?
Congresswoman, none of them currently come equipped with such a device.
None. Mr. Daniel, how about Daniel Defense? How many of your weapons come equipped with fingerprint identity scanners?
Congresswoman, we do not sell any type of firearm this way. Our customers have not asked for such.
Okay, so that's a no. This is my cell phone. Mr. Kilroy, it scans my fingerprint each time I go to unlock it. Is this a weapon?
No, ma'am.
Can this fire bullets that shred people's vital organs, this phone?
No, Congresswoman, it can't.
Then why should this device require more steps to operate than your company's firearms, which have been used in accidental shootings, mass shootings, and homicides?
Congresswoman, respectfully, your cell phone doesn't generate internal pressures of upwards of 60,000 pounds per square inch. The operating system of a firearm is extremely dynamic, extreme high pressures, lots of moving pieces, and first and foremost, a firearm, especially one used for self-defense, needs to function reliably.
Okay,
As,
respectfully, reclaiming my time, these fingerprint scanners are offered in some firearms. Some manufacturers sell this, and they work. Your company and Mr. Daniel's company chooses not to. Let me demonstrate again how long this takes. It's instant. It's instant when I pick up my phone. Certain safety features, other safety features like chamber-loaded indicators or magazine disconnects are required for any gun sold in my home state of California. A magazine disconnect prevents a gun from firing if the magazine is not attached. My kids' Nerf guns have this safety feature. This decades-old safety feature prevents guns from shooting bullets that remain in the chamber after a magazine has been removed. Mr. Kilroy, do all Ruger rifles that have magazines come equipped with magazine disconnects?
Congresswoman, magazine disconnects typically are a feature offered on a handgun, a pistol in particular.
Do all your handguns or pistols have magazine disconnects, sir?
Some do and some do not.
Okay, so some do and some do not. Mr. Ruger, do your guns have magazine disconnects? Sorry, Mr. Daniel, do your handguns have magazine disconnects?
Ma'am, we don't sell handguns.
And your large capacity guns do not have that feature either?
Our rifles do not have that feature, no ma'am.
Magazine disconnects are also not new. These features come standard in every gun that is sold in my home state, and those features prevent accidental deaths. In 2020, 149 children died in incidents when the person did not intend to fire the gun. Mr. Kilroy, Mr. Daniel, kids are dying because you refuse to implement these safety technologies like fingerprint scanners and magazine disconnects. And these technologies were studied and developed decades ago. Mr. Kilroy, will your company commit to adding fingerprint scanners to every firearm Ruger manufactures?
No, Congresswoman, we will not.
Mr. Daniel, same question. Will your company commit to adding fingerprint scanners to every Daniel Defense firearm?
Congresswoman, our guns fire when there's a bullet in the chamber, and it doesn't fire when there's not a bullet in the chamber. A gun should be kept, and if it does not want to be fired, if the owner does not want to fire it, they should not keep around in the chamber.
But the question is, will you commit to adding fingerprint scanners as a safety technology to every Daniel Defense firearm? Yes or no?
No, ma'am, our customers are not interested in that.
Mr. Killoy, will your company commit to adding magazine disconnects to every magazine-loaded Ruger firearm?
Congresswoman, we have in many of our pistols, our semi-automatic pistols, we offer that as a feature. And if our customers choose to buy one of our firearms that has a magazine safety disconnect, they can. Other times they choose not to have that particular feature.
Facebook's known as a great place to work, free food, ping pong tables, great employee benefits, but Facebook doesn't use its employees for the hardest jobs in the company. You've got about 15,000 contractors watching murders, stabbings, suicides, other gruesome, disgusting videos for content moderation, correct?
Congressman, yes, I believe that that's correct.
You pay many of those workers under $30,000 a year, and you've cut them off from mental health care when they leave the company, even if they have PTSD because of their work for your company. Is that correct?
Congresswoman, my understanding is we pay everyone, including the contractors associated with the company, at least a $15 minimum wage. In markets and cities where there's a high cost of living, that's a $20 minimum wage. We go out of our way
Thank
to
you.
offer
I take your word at the wage.
health.
Reclaiming my time. According to one report I have, and this is straight out of an episode of Black Mirror, these workers get nine minutes of supervised wellness time per day. That means 9 minutes to cry in the stairwell while somebody watches them. Would you be willing to commit to spending 1 hour a day for the next year watching these videos and acting as a content monitor and only accessing the same benefits available to your workers?
Congresswoman, we work hard to make sure that we give good benefits to all the folks who are doing this.
Mr. Zuckerberg, reclaiming my time, I would appreciate a yes or a no. Would you be willing to act as a content monitor, to have that life experience?
I'm not sure that it would best serve our community for me to spend that much
Reclaiming my time. Mr. Zuckerberg,
I spend a lot of
reclaiming
time
my
looking at this
time.
content.
Mr. Zuckerberg, are you saying you're not qualified to be a content monitor?
No, Congresswoman, that's not what I'm saying.
Okay, then you're saying you're not willing to do it. My question for you is whether you would be willing to share today your social security, your birth date, and your address at this public hearing.
I would be a bit uncomfortable doing that, Congresswoman. If you'd so oblige me, I'd prefer not to.
Okay, could I ask you why you're unwilling?
Well, that's sensitive information. I think it's sensitive information that I like to protect, and I think consumers should protect theirs.
Okay, so my question then is, if you agree that exposing this kind of information like that you have in your credit reports, creates harm, therefore you're unwilling to share it, why are your lawyers arguing in federal court that there was no injury and no harm created by your data breach?
Congresswoman, it's really hard for me to comment on what our lawyers are doing.
Respectfully, excuse me, but you do employ those lawyers, and they do operate at your direction. They're your counsel, and they are making these arguments in court, arguing on the record. I have the pleadings here from the court case. They are arguing on the record that that this case should be dismissed because there is no injury and no harm created by the disclosure of people's personal credit information. Yet I understand you, as I would, to believe that that the exposure of that information, if I asked you if you would give it to the committee and you understandably said no, would in fact create a harm. So I guess I would ask you to please look carefully at what your lawyers are doing and the arguments that they are making, because I feel they're inconsistent with some of the helpful testimony that you've provided today.